The stars looked different from the observation deck of the Galactic Council station. Han watched them silently, his hands clasped behind his back. Earth was just a tiny dot from here, barely visible among thousands of other worlds. Han had served as Earth's representative for 3 years now. The aliens called humans developing species and treated them like children. Humans could visit other planets but couldn't vote on important matters. The Council made all the big decisions. Still admiring the view? A voice came from behind him. Han turned to see Ye Jin, another human diplomat. Her dark hair was pulled back tightly, her uniform perfectly pressed. "Just thinking about home," Han replied. Ye Jin moved closer, lowering her voice. "I need to show you something. Not here." Later, in Han's small quarters, Ye Jin pulled out a small device. It projected images of Earth's forests, oceans, and mountains. "These are from the Council's secret files," she explained. "They've been studying Earth for decades." Han frowned. "They told us they only discovered Earth 15 years ago. They lied." Ye Jin swiped through more images. But that's not the worst part. The next image showed a strange machine hovering over a forest. Trees beneath it were turning gray, dying as the machine passed over them. "What is that?" Han asked. "They call it a resource extractor. It pulls out biological material at the molecular level." Ye Jin's voice was tight with anger. "They've used it on 12 other planets. None of those worlds recovered." Han felt sick. Why would they do this? Earth has unique biological properties. Something about our planet's evolution created compounds they can't find anywhere else. She showed him more files. "They plan to start next year. We have to tell everyone back home," Han said. Ye Jin shook her head. "The Council monitors all official communications. We'd be stopped before the message reached Earth." For days, Han couldn't sleep. He watched the alien representatives in meetings, wondering which ones had approved the plan to destroy his home. The tall, four-armed Dreth, the floating Lunari, the mechanical Voltai, all of them looked at humans with the same expression, like they were looking at interesting but simple animals. One evening, Han was working late when his door chimed. A small, gray-skinned alien entered. Jin Ho, an assistant to the Dreth ambassador. "May we speak privately?" Jin Ho asked, glancing nervously around the room. Han nodded, suspicious but curious. "Not all Council members support this plan for your world," Jin Ho whispered. "Some of us believe it violates our founding principles." "Can you help us stop it?" Han asked. "I can help you access the communication systems." Jin Ho handed him a small chip. "This will hide your transmissions from Council surveillance." With Jin Ho's help, Han and Ye Jin contacted other humans working on different Council stations. Soon, they discovered more aliens who disagreed with the Council's plans. A network began to form. Han met Sunmi, a human engineer working in the Council's technology division. She had access to the machines that would eventually be sent to Earth. "I can study their weaknesses," she told him during a secret meeting. "Every technology has flaws." June, a human translator, joined them next. He had overheard conversations between Council leaders that revealed divisions among the alien species. The Voltai only agreed because they get first access to the resources, June explained. The Lunari are worried about their public image if the truth gets out. Han realized that the aliens' biggest mistake was underestimating humans. They thought humans were too primitive to understand their technology, too disorganized to work together effectively, and too afraid to fight back. They were wrong. 6 months after discovering the Council's plan, Han had built a resistance network with 57 humans and 23 sympathetic aliens. They worked in different departments across the Council station, gathering information and preparing for the day they would act. During an official dinner, Han overheard 2 Dreth officials talking. "The humans suspect nothing?" one asked. "They're barely aware of anything beyond their own small concerns," the other replied. "By the time they realize what's happening, it will be too late." Han smiled politely and refilled their drinks. Inside, his determination grew stronger. That night, he met with the core members of the resistance. "We're ready to move to the next Phase, he told them. The Council thinks we're weak because we're different from them. They don't understand that our differences are our strength. Yejin nodded. Then let's show them what humans can do when we take action. As they planned late into the night, the stars continued to shine through the observation window. Somewhere out there, Earth was spinning, unaware of both the threat and the humans fighting to protect it. The encroachment had begun, but so had the resistance. The silent rebellion unfolded in the shadowy corners of the Galactic Council station. 3 months had passed since Han discovered the plot against Earth. The resistance now operated in careful whispers and encrypted messages. Dai-Ho, the human communications expert, worked late into the night. His small quarters were filled with modified equipment, pieces of alien technology he had carefully altered. Is it ready? Jin asked, entering Dai-Ho's room after checking the corridor was empty. Almost. Dai-Ho adjusted something inside a small, silver device. This will change everything. Jin watched nervously. As head of the resistance, he carried the weight of Earth's future. How does it work? The Council's communication system uses a predictable pattern, Dai-Ho explained. They've never needed to hide their messages before. My device creates a shadow network inside their own. We can talk freely, and they'll never know. The next day, Jin met with So-Young, a scientist working in the Council's biology department. She had access to the plans for Earth's resource extraction. Their machines are designed for specific molecular patterns, So-Young explained, showing Jin diagrams on her tablet. They expect certain responses from Earth's ecosystem. Can we use that against them? Jin asked. So-Young nodded. If we alter those patterns even slightly, their machines might malfunction. I need more time to study this. The Council continued to ignore the humans among them. In meetings, Jin sat quietly, seen but not heard. The aliens discussed Earth as if it were an uninhabited resource deposit, rather than a living world with billions of people. The extraction will proceed as scheduled, announced the Dreth ambassador. Preparation teams will depart next month. That night, using Dai-Ho's encrypted system, Jin connected with human representatives on 17 different council stations. The rebellion was growing beyond what he had imagined. Yuna, working on a distant outpost, had befriended members of the Narith species. They were nearly destroyed by the Council centuries ago, she reported. They've been hiding, but they want to help us. Minjae, stationed on the Council's main archives, had discovered something important. The Council has secretly interfered with over 30 developing worlds, he said. Earth isn't the first, but we could be the last if we succeed. Jin organized the resistance into specialized teams. Dai-Ho's communication experts expanded their shadow network. So-Young's scientists studied the extraction technology for weaknesses. A new group led by Jiwoo focused on gathering allies among the alien species who opposed the Council's methods. The Voltai representative asked me strange questions today, Jiwoo told Jin after a diplomatic reception. I think he suspects something. Jin's worry grew. We need to move faster. The preparation teams leave in 3 weeks. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Hyun, a quiet human who worked cleaning the Council's main chamber, overheard a heated argument between 2 Council members. The Lunari delegate was angry about being excluded from some decision, Hyun reported. The Dreth ambassador said something about resources being diverted from the Earth operation to another project. Jin immediately called an emergency meeting of the resistance leaders. If they're splitting their resources, this is our chance, he said. We need to create a diversion that will further delay their plans. The plan was dangerous, but necessary. So-Young would introduce a subtle error into the extraction machine's programming. Dai-Ho would temporarily disrupt communications between Council ships. Jiwoo would use political tensions to create further confusion. 3 days before the preparation teams were scheduled to depart, the resistance acted. Everything happened quietly, with no dramatic confrontations. A changed number in a formula, a delayed message, a carefully placed rumor. The council called an emergency session when their ships failed to launch on schedule. Jin watched from his observer seat as the alien representatives argued among themselves. "This delay is unacceptable," the Voltai delegate stated. "We were promised priority access to the Earth resources. Our technical teams report equipment failures that must be resolved before proceeding," the Dreth ambassador replied. "Safety protocols must be followed." Jin hid his smile. The silent rebellion was working. They had gained precious time. That evening, he received a message from Earth. Their home government had been quietly informed about the threat and was preparing defenses. The resistance had become a bridge between worlds. "They underestimated us," Jin told Ye Jin as they watched the stars from the observation deck. "They thought humans would be easy to control." "Our greatest strength is that we don't give up," Ye Jin replied. Even when facing impossible odds, the silent rebellion continued to grow, spreading through the council's blind spots like roots breaking through concrete. The humans took action, not with weapons or armies, but with intelligence, determination, and hope. The stars outside the council's space station twinkled as Ju-wan hurried through the dimly lit corridor. 6 months had passed since the resistance had delayed the council's plans for Earth. The small victory had given them time, but the aliens were growing suspicious of system failures and communication issues. Ju-wan carried important news. His work in the Deep Space Monitoring Division had detected an unusual signal from a supposedly empty sector. After weeks of secret investigation, he had made contact with something unexpected. "I need to see Jin immediately," Ju-wan told Ye Jin. When he reached their hidden meeting place, Jin arrived moments later looking tired but alert. "What did you find?" "We're not alone in our fight." Ju-wan activated a small holographic projector. It showed a strange, crystalline ship unlike any council design. "They call themselves the Quan. The council believes they were wiped out centuries ago, but they've been hiding, watching." Jin studied the image. "Can we trust them?" "They hate the council more than we do," Ju-wan explained. "The council harvested their homeworld first before they perfected their techniques. The Quan barely survived." 2 days later, Jin and Ju-wan took a small maintenance vessel to a hidden meeting point far from council sensors. The Quan ship materialized from the darkness, glittering like a jewel against the black of space. Inside, they met Ryun, the Quan representative. He was tall and thin with skin that seemed to shift colors like flowing water. His eyes were deep and ancient. "For centuries, we have watched the council destroy worlds," Ryun said in a voice that sounded like distant bells. "We survived but lost our strength. We have technology but lack the will to fight." Jin felt a strange connection to this alien whose people had suffered what Earth now faced. "Humans have the opposite problem. We have the will but lack the technology." Ryun smiled, an expression he had clearly learned to mimic for human comfort. "Then perhaps the stars have finally brought together what is needed to stop the council." The alliance began carefully. The Quan shared their technology, devices more advanced than anything the council possessed. The humans shared their determination and tactical thinking. Xiong, a human engineer, worked closely with the Quan scientists. She was amazed by their crystalline computers that operated on principles humans had never imagined. "Their technology is like art," she told Jin. "But they think in centuries, not days. They plan too slowly." Jin understood. The Quan need our urgency, and we need their knowledge. The council remained unaware of the alliance. When their sensors occasionally detected unusual energy signatures, human technicians like Mina would alter the records. "They're so confident in their superiority that they rarely check our work," Mina said with a small smile of satisfaction. 3 months into the alliance, the humans began adapting Quan technology in ways that surprised even Ryun. Xiong created a device that could temporarily disable council weapons without damaging them, something the Quan had believed impossible. "How did you solve the energy feedback problem?" Ryun asked her, his color shifting to bright blue with curiosity. "I didn't try to solve it," Xiong explained. "I redirected it. Sometimes the direct approach isn't the best one," Ryun's color deepened. This is why the Council fears species like yours. You see possibilities where we see only obstacles. The alliance grew stronger as more Quan ships emerged from hiding. They brought resources and knowledge from worlds beyond Council control. The humans brought creativity and courage. Jin sometimes wondered if they were making a mistake trusting aliens again, but each day brought new evidence of the Quan's commitment. They had suffered too much under the Council to betray another victim. During a secret meeting aboard the main Quan vessel, Ryun showed Jin their greatest treasure, a complete map of Council operations throughout the galaxy. For centuries, we have watched and recorded, Ryun explained. We know their weaknesses, their secret facilities, their private communications. Jin stared at the massive holographic display. With this, we might actually win. Not might, Ryun corrected him. Will. The Council believes they face only primitive humans. They don't realize they now face the combined strength of human will and Quan knowledge. As Jin returned to the Council station that night, he watched the stars with new eyes. Somewhere out there, Quan ships were moving into position. Inside the station, humans continued their silent work of preparation and sabotage. The Council had made a fatal error. They had dismissed humans as primitive and the Quan as extinct. They never imagined these two species might find each other and form a bond stronger than any Council alliance. The unexpected alliance had transformed a desperate resistance into something the galaxy hadn't seen in millennia, hope for a future free from Council control. The morning of the decisive strike began quietly. After months of preparation, the combined human-Quan alliance was ready to move against the Galactic Council. Jin stood at the observation window, watching the massive Council ships dock at the central station. Today, those ships would be useless. "Are you nervous?" asked Hana, joining him at the window. As the Resistance's chief strategist, she had designed much of their plan. "No," Jin answered truthfully. "The Council has never faced an enemy like us before. They don't know how to defend against what's coming. Their plan was not to fight the Council directly. That would be suicide. Instead, they would use the Council's own systems against them." "Sujung is in position," Hana reported. "The archive team is ready." Sujung led the most dangerous part of the mission. With a small team of humans and 2 Quan, she had infiltrated the Council's central archives. These massive data vaults contained records of every Council decision, including their plans for Earth and evidence of past planetary destructions. Meanwhile, in the communications center, Daeho prepared to broadcast those records throughout the galaxy. For centuries, the Council had kept their operations secret from most of the worlds they governed. Today, that secrecy would end. "Begin Phase 1, Jin ordered through his hidden communicator. Across the station, human technicians activated the devices Seung had created from Quan technology. The effects were subtle at first. Council communication systems experienced minor errors. Security protocols reset unexpectedly. Ship navigation systems showed false readings. In the Council chamber, the representatives from 12 powerful species argued about the growing problems. "The Earth extraction must proceed despite these technical issues," insisted the Dreth ambassador. "We have invested too many resources to delay further." The Voltai representative's mechanical voice buzzed with anger. "Your engineers promised these problems would be fixed months ago. We suspect deliberate interference." Jin smiled as he listened through the secret channel. The Council members were already turning against each other, exactly as Hana had predicted. In the central archives, Sujung's team worked quickly. The Quan devices bypassed the advanced security systems, giving them access to the most restricted files. They downloaded everything: resource extraction plans, records of destroyed worlds, secret agreements between Council members. "We have what we need," Sujung reported, beginning withdrawal. But at that moment an alarm sounded. Archive security had detected the breach. "Security forces are coming," warned one of the Quan. "We need more time to complete the download." Sujung made a quick decision. "The rest of you go. I'll hold them off and finish this." Back at the command center, Jin received the news of Suzhong's situation with a heavy heart, but there was no time to change plans. "Begin Phase 2, he ordered. Daeho activated the broadcast system. Across the station, on every council world, on thousands of ships throughout the galaxy, the truth began to spread. Records of council crimes appeared on screens. Evidence of corruption and planetary destruction became public knowledge. In the council chamber, chaos erupted as representatives saw their secret deals exposed. "What is happening?" demanded the Lunari delegate as their private agreements with the Dreth appeared on the main display. "This is human deception," shouted the Dreth ambassador. "They must be eliminated immediately." The council ordered their fleet to prepare for an attack on Earth. But when the captains tried to power their weapons, nothing happened. The Quan technology had silently disabled their systems. In the archives, Suzhong had barricaded herself in the main control room. Security forces pounded on the door as she completed the final download. "It's done," she reported to Jin. "Everything is exposed." The door to the archive room burst open. Suzhong faced the council guards calmly. She had completed her mission. Throughout the galaxy, the council's authority was crumbling. Worlds that had been controlled through deception began to rebel. Council ships found themselves surrounded by the vessels of their former subjects. The Quan fleet emerged from hiding, revealing their survival to the stunned council. Jin walked into the council chamber, no longer hiding in the shadows. The alien representatives fell silent as he approached the central platform. "The age of council rule is over," he announced. "Your crimes are known to every world in the galaxy. Your weapons are disabled. Your secrets are exposed." The Dreth ambassador rose in anger. "You are nothing. Primitive creatures who took action," Jin interrupted. "While you believed yourselves superior, we built an alliance that has defeated you without firing a single shot." The decisive strike had succeeded not through violence, but through truth. The humans and Quan had changed the galaxy forever, not by destroying their enemies, but by revealing what those enemies had done. As news of Suzhong's capture spread, the resistance prepared for the final phase of their plan. The battle was not over, but the turning point had come. The council's power was broken, shattered by the most unexpected of alliances. The assembly hall buzzed with activity. Representatives from hundreds of worlds gathered in the space once reserved for council members only. 3 months had passed since the decisive strike that had exposed the council's corruption and ended their rule. Now the galaxy stood at a crossroads. Jin watched from the speaker's platform as delegates from formerly oppressed worlds took their seats. The Quan sat alongside humans, their crystalline forms glittering under the hall's lights. Even former council species attended, though they no longer held special status. "Are you ready?" asked Jin, now Earth's official ambassador to the new alliance. Jin nodded. "As ready as I'll ever be." The journey to this moment had been difficult. After the council's fall, some worlds had called for revenge against the former ruling species. Others had wanted to seize power for themselves. The galaxy had teetered on the edge of chaos, but the Human-Quan alliance had offered a different path. Not dominance, but partnership. Not punishment, but justice. Jin stepped forward to address the assembly. The room fell silent. 1 year ago, I stood in this hall as a silent observer, watching the council plan the destruction of my homeworld. Today, I stand before you as one voice among many equals. He gestured to the diverse gathering. We have an opportunity that comes once in many lifetimes. We can build something new. Not a new council with new masters, but a true alliance of worlds. The release of Suzhong and other resistance members had been one of the first acts of the transitional government. She now sat in the front row, her quiet strength a reminder of the sacrifices made. Our differences are not weaknesses, Jin continued. They are strengths. Humans contributed determination and adaptability to our alliance. The Quan brought wisdom and technology. Other worlds bring their own unique gifts. The former council species listened uncomfortably. They had lost their privileged positions, but not their place in the galaxy. This was the humans' choice. Justice without vengeance. The first act of our new alliance will be to heal the worlds damaged by resource extraction, Jin announced. The Quan have developed methods to restore ecosystems, beginning with their own homeworld and then helping others. Ryun, the Quan representative, stood to show the assembly holographic images of devastated planets beginning to recover. The delegates murmured in amazement. After the assembly, Jin walked through the station's corridors with Hana and Daeho. Once they had moved in shadows here. Now they walked openly. Do you think it will last? Daeho asked, looking around at the many species working together. Nothing lasts forever, Hana replied. But we've built something worth fighting for. They stopped at the observation deck, the same place where Jin had stood a year ago looking at the distant speck of Earth. Now Earthships docked regularly at the station, bringing human scientists, diplomats, and explorers. The Council ruled through fear and deception, Jin said. They kept worlds isolated and ignorant of each other. Our strength is in connection and truth. The new alliance faced many challenges. Some former Council worlds resisted the changes. Resources had to be reallocated. Trust had to be built between species with ancient rivalries. But there was hope. When the Alliance's first cooperative scientific mission launched, a vessel crewed by humans, Quan, and representatives from 10 other species, Jin felt a surge of pride unlike anything he had experienced before. 6 months later, Jin prepared to return to Earth for the first time since joining the Resistance. The blue planet hung visible in the shuttle's viewport as they approached. What will you do now? Jin asked him. Help build connections between Earth and other worlds, Jin replied. The Council kept us isolated because they feared what we might become. Now we'll discover that together. As the shuttle descended toward Earth, Jin thought about all that had changed. The galaxy was not perfect. The new alliance faced challenges every day. But worlds that once faced destruction now had futures. Species that had been enemies now worked together. All because a few humans had refused to accept their planet's fate. All because they had taken action when action seemed impossible. And that, Jin realized, was humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy. Not just the belief that things could change, but the courage to make that change happen.